Hello, everybody. Hoping you can hear me okay. Welcome to the EFT call. So, if you're visiting here, joining me live, please say hello in the chat. Let me know if you're here and if you're able to hear everything okay. And of course, you are welcome to, as you can see in the chat there, at any time, type in something that you would like to tap on or something that you would like to work on today, and I'll include that into a tapping round. And what I'll do is, after just a brief moment for some more of our friends to join, just do a brief little moment to take a guided meditation, just a minute or two to connect to what we're feeling and get ourselves in the zone to get the most out of the tapping rounds. But before then, I will take a moment to see if anybody's saying hello and if they have any subjects they know that they would like to work on. Okay, great. So we have one in the chat, hatred and shame. Pretty intense. Is that hatred that you feel towards other people, hatred you felt towards you, or maybe both? So you can think about that for a moment. And for those of you who are here now, just going to invite everybody to take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you're in a position to do so. And on your next deep breath, just be aware of that breath as it moves through your body. Notice the breath as it moves from the nose or mouth through the throat into the chest and stomach. And notice that as you do that, you get a little bit more tuned in to the sensations that your body is feeling right now. Your awareness, your attention becomes basically more sensitive to what you're experiencing physically. And so just follow that breath, become a little bit more aware of where you're holding any tension, where there's any physical discomfort, and just give that all a moment of your attention. Notice how it responds to you simply breathing into it and being present with it for a moment. Now that you're a little bit more tuned into your body, bring that same awareness now to what you're feeling emotionally. If I were to ask you, what are you feeling right now? Slow down that process a bit. That way you look in order to answer that question. So that it's not just the words, I feel tired, I feel happy, I feel sad. But instead of leaving the feeling and going into the description of it, just become a little bit more interested in the experience of that feeling itself. So you might use a word like sad or bored, but see if you can invite that feeling and become a little bit more aware of the details of it. What's the energy of it like? Is it draining? Is it uplifting? Is it tense? Is it tight? And you can also be aware of how your body is responding to it. And then just ask yourself the question, is there anything going on for me right now that could really use some support or some attention? Sometimes the answer might surprise you, or it might be exactly what you expected. Whatever the case, just bring that up to the surface a little bit more. And if you'd like to tap on it, you can bring that into the chat. And in the meantime, everybody just begin tapping on either your collarbone, like I'm doing here, or if you're familiar with the EFT points, make sure your hands are clean before tapping your face. And you'll notice that the body, the emotions that you're feeling, they start responding positively to this, especially since in that little exercise before you got a little bit more connected to your body, connected to your emotions. And so just the fact that that's been brought up, just notice that tapping without any specific words, without any specific rounds, basically responds well. It begins working on, so to speak, it begins processing through whatever it is you're already feeling. So as you're tapping a bit, bring the attention less on the physical act of tapping and just back into what you were feeling, experiencing emotionally. So you'll notice that you're essentially doing your own sort of tapping round, your own beneficial practice here, simply by tuning in to what you're feeling, being present with it, and engaging the physical body a bit. So as you tune into whatever's coming up for you, we have one comment of hatred and shame, which if you'd like to get more specific with that, you can. Otherwise, I will do a round on those subjects. But anyone else who has anything coming up for them that they'd like to tap on or like to explore further, see we have some new people that have joined. Go ahead and tap those into the type type those into the chat or tap them in, and then we'll tap further. Okay. So right now we just have the two words hatred and shame. So there's always a multiple variety of directions that you can go with what comes up with any specific word or topic. So let's go with hatred a bit. It's a strong feeling, obviously. So while you're continuing to tap, just ask your mind, ask your body to bring up an image, an event, a person, a circumstance that you have a strong negative reaction towards. That you might even say in your own mind, at least, I really hate fill in the blank. And notice the intensity of that as it actually is experienced physically and emotionally. And with something as strong as hatred that, of course, you judge as bad, most people would not say hatred is something that I encourage in my life. Right? So you can almost guarantee there's a certain amount of resistance to that feeling. So just be aware of that, and we'll do a traditional round here. Sometimes I don't do this, but we'll do this where we do the actual side of the hand. And say, even though I'm experiencing a feeling of hatred right now, I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm experiencing a feeling so strong and intense that I would use the word hatred, and any judgment or discomfort I have about that, I choose to deeply and completely love and forgive myself. Even though I'm feeling an emotion, maybe even a combination of emotions, a reaction to this person, place, or thing that's so strong and intense that I would say I feel hatred. And all the resistance to that in my body, all the part of me that wants to express it, that feels justified in the hatred, and the parts of me that try to get rid of that hatred, that try to say, just let it go, that are trying to be more spiritual and accepting. So even though I have all this intense emotion and internal conflict around it, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe even be open to feeling some of that towards this thing I hate. I just saw that come in. So, and the shame I feel around the hatred. So, adding one more here, even though I feel all this shame about the feelings I'm feeling, the shame for the hatred itself, the sense that it's not right, that I'm ashamed of myself for feeling this. I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. So I really feel hatred towards this. I don't like to say it. I don't think that's a good feeling to have. Maybe I've tried to minimize it. Maybe I've tried to justify it. Maybe I've tried to let go of it. But if I really feel down into my gut, I would say, yes, I really do hate that person, place, or thing. And to notch it up a level, replace person, place, or thing with the actual person, place, or thing. So I really do feel hatred towards. And no matter what my opinions are about my feelings, the reality is I feel it. And if I don't label it as hatred, it's a strong reaction that's arising in me. I didn't open up a catalog of emotions with full sense of choice and say, yeah, I'm going to choose to feel that. If I did that, maybe I could say, well, that was a poor choice. But I didn't choose this. Nobody does. Whatever response that's coming up inside me was a natural response to whatever triggered it. Maybe part of me says, well, that's not the response I want to have. Okay, that's a noble goal. But the worst thing we can try to do is deny or look away from the true feeling and then try to put a nicer sounding thought on top of that. So I'm releasing my emotional attachment to the word hatred, releasing my personal opinions about how I'm labeling this feeling. And I'm opening up to working with the feeling itself directly. Just like if it was an injury in my body, doesn't matter what it's called. In order to help heal it, we work with what's actually there. I would never say to myself, well, I don't like the name or feel comfortable with that disease, so I'm not going to treat it. So letting go of my response to how I react to the fact that I have this feeling. I'm allowing myself to feel what's actually there. I don't need to justify it. My body, my nervous system, it didn't make a mistake by having this reaction. There's no need for me to judge it. There's no need for me to label it as wrong. And most importantly, this reaction of feelings I'm having, which may have come from actions, words that really did happen towards me. My nervous system and emotions responding the way they did does not define me as a person. Me having this emotional reaction, which may have been justified in the moment, because this is an intelligent system. It doesn't just randomly make me feel something like that. So this is a response that happened. A reaction to the environment. Just like I may cough or sneeze or have other physical reactions when there's certain physical conditions. So this does not make me a hateful person. The reactions and responses that come up do not define me. And if I look closely at them, I did not choose or have any say in the fact that they appeared. And I'm going to guess that that's the same for all human beings. Some people feel those reactions and then choose to murder that person. I didn't do that. The sense of feeling shame for a reaction that simply arose within me is just a misunderstanding. Yes, I may not have enjoyed that reaction, but the reaction does not define the human being. Feeling a feeling of hatred or anger or bitterness is not something that's wrong or bad. I'm choosing to look really closely at this now to see if I really can observe that these emotional reactions do simply arise. At that point, there are different responses one can take. So I'm allowing myself to see that the feelings that arise in me are not the same as my behavior. They're not the same as who I am fundamentally. And the quality of me as a human being is not determined by what emotions arise. So, all this shame I feel about having an emotion, maybe I've been taught that the very presence of certain feelings means I'm doing something bad or sinful. A good person should not even feel this. In reality, it's impossible for me to ever know what feelings actually arise in someone else. It might be safe to guess that the emotions of anger and hatred and jealousy arise in just about everybody. There's certainly enough movies and books and television and enough stuff on social media to suggest to me, yeah, I think most people feel these things. So I'm relaxing my personal responsibility for what arises. And I'll redirect my attention to what it is I'm actually doing with those emotions. Well, one thing I decided to do was actually attend a tapping call to examine this part of me. There are a lot of other choices I could have made. And there are a lot of other choices people do make. So maybe I'm willing to even give myself some credit to say, okay, different things arise, but what do I do with them? What choices do I make about the emotions and experiences that do arise? Can I be a little bit more interested in that? Can I let go of all my fantasies about being a perfect person who doesn't feel these feelings and all the shame associated with that? And choose to look at simply what arises and then the kind of person I am that would choose to address it in such a mature and healthy way. Relaxing any sense of comparison, any philosophy, idea, concept that I could compare myself against in order to justify any shame. So, any hatred that's arising, I choose to no longer suppress that with labels or judgments. In a safe environment like this, I'm going to allow those emotions to move through me. Any remaining concept of shame or guilt for having these feelings, let's see if I can move that to the side for a moment. Notice what helps the energy move and process more easily. If I judge it, or if I simply step back and let it move as it does. So I'm not my feelings. There's nothing wrong with me for certain feelings arising. And I'll continue to refine and grow in better and more useful ways to be with those feelings. Okay, take a deep breath. Stretch out a little bit, take a sip of something if you'd like. Let me know if that brought anything else up for you, if that touched on anything, if that helped, if that's provided any relief around that subject of hatred and shame. While we're giving everyone a chance to respond to that, I recommend you keep tapping. Those of you who might have seen what I wrote online before, I did a workshop this weekend and next weekend where on those calls we were literally encouraged to tap the entire 4 hours with Brad Yates. Highly recommend it. And a guy named Steve Wells, who was great and actually stole a little bit from both of them in that round. Um, yeah, I don't think you can overdo it. So I felt really great tapping probably 6, 7 hours in that one day. because I did some more on my own. So you can keep tapping as you. Great. That touched absolutely everything. Will this recording? Yes, because I'm doing this live on YouTube, the same link you click to join is literally just going to take you to this recording instantly. So it will just be on YouTube. So the recording is basically right here within minutes, and I'll keep it there as long as you'd like. I basically have to delete it intentionally in order for it to go away. And you have a 30-minute session with me if you like. I remember you leaving that comment, and I was going to email you because it's almost the end of the month. So I will send you an email about that. Schedule that with me if you would like, if you'd like to do that. Great. And we have another one. Glad to hear that was helpful. Feeling nervous about my job applications and interviews. Great. And um, well, let's just start with feeling a little bit counting your blessings that there are actually places that are interviewing you right now. You're wise in choosing a certain line of work that would be even taking applications right now. My field as a musician, which you can probably tell from the instruments around me, um, I am I have nowhere to apply at the moment. So, but the plus side is I get to spend more time with you all doing things like this. So, if you would like, if you're still here, I'll do a round on that. But if you would like to get into any more specifics about, first take a deep breath after you've been tapping all this time. And feeling into that sense of nervousness about these job applications, interviews, and see if there's any other layers, such as any beliefs or opinions about yourself. Is there any emotion around you feeling qualified? Your own assessment of yourself, does that play into the nervousness? Of course, there's a natural nervousness about such a thing, but you might as well dig in there if you can and see if there's any other elements to touch in on. Take a look at how you perceive the act itself of, okay, if I'm being interviewed for a job, does part of you look at that as a sort of assessment of your self-worth as a human being, depending on what the response is? You know, I can definitely get like that. I'm much, much, much better than I was when I was your age. But yes, it can have a lot of things attached to that. Oh, that person didn't call me for this gig. I guess I'm just the worst bass player that ever lived. Right. Not everybody has such a strong association with those types of things, but it's something to check in with that can be adding an extra layer to things like nervousness and fear about approaching certain jobs or certain opportunities. So go ahead and type that in if you've got anything else. Otherwise, I'll just do it more generally on nervousness about job application interviews, and I will throw in there not having any job applications or interviews because of your particular line of work. Good. Okay, I've got some more details on that one. Definitely a lot of self worth tied into that and feeling like I have to be fake and pretend to be a leader and all that nonsense. Okay, good. Yes, you have probably read a lot of things or maybe listened to some, inspirational, motivational texts or YouTube videos about this is what the company wants to see and they want a leader and so on. And there may be some wisdom in that, but very, very easy to make the association with fakeness and uh, just sort of BS because, frankly, a lot of that's what's presented online too. A lot of sort of fake motivational people. Just you have to be like this, and who knows what their experience actually is like that. So let's just go right into no, let's do the side of the hand. Even though I'm feeling nervous about jobs, lack of jobs, applications, and interviews, I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, I'll work that in. Even though I have some nerves, a sense of my self worth being tied up in this, and concepts about how I'm supposed to act and be that feel insincere and frankly stupid and fake, I choose to deeply and completely love and forgive myself. So even though I have all these emotions right now about these job applications and interviews, or the lack of such opportunities for me right now, how am I going to present myself if I'm qualified and gifted enough, if I'm going to present myself the right way, all the ideas I may have absorbed about what the quote unquote correct way is, the uncertainty about whether or not to just go be myself, or if that in itself is lazy and ineffective. So even though I have all these emotions around jobs and interviews, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe even the interviewers, the jobs, and all those people that gave that advice. So I've got these job interviews and applications. Part of me might feel lucky to have them right now because there's a shortage of those in many, many fields. But the other side of that is maybe that makes me feel more stressed about it. I better get this. If I don't land any of these, what does that say about me? What does that say about my abilities, my skill, how I present myself? If I'm actually qualified or not? Any part of me that's saying, oh, now it's time to go from school to work, in any sense of I should have worked harder. I wish I was in a better position. And other parts of me that are saying, maybe all that is nonsense anyway. Parts of me that feel like it's really all about merit. Am I good enough? Do I have what it takes? Am I a leader? Am I skilled and confident? I think those all might matter a lot. And if so, any nervousness that I'm not any of those things, I'm allowing all that nervous energy to process through my body. Just feeling it on a physical level as well. breathing into all that nervous energy, allowing myself to recognize that there's really not a whole lot I can think about it that helps. I can't think or nervous my way into actually being more qualified or skilled or confident. So, any of that energy that's not serving me right now or preventing me from seeing and acting clearly in whatever ways might actually help, just allowing to let some of that go. Allowing even more of that to let go. All the sense that being nervous and thinking a lot is actually helping me prepare or will actually make me more qualified in any way. Just letting even more of that go. Now, there may be another part of me here that might be cynical about the whole thing. Maybe I've even seen evidence of this. Maybe it's more about who you know. Maybe it's more about where you went to school, how much money you've given, who you're connected with. Any part of me that feels cynical and dismissive of all of that. Even if any of that is true, there's ultimately nothing I could do to change it. And even if that is true, for any particular specific job at a specific place, it is not true in terms of me developing myself. I can absolutely develop in my own skill, my own experience, my own confidence, regardless of any of those factors outside my control. So, bottom line, whatever the case, it's good for me to get more proficient. It's good for me to feel better. It's good for me to learn and grow more. Those are universally beneficial things to do. Whether I go with a certain job, start my own business, or anything else. And it's equally true that worrying and thinking a lot about what I cannot control is useless, whether that's for a specific job or starting my own business or anything else. So there's a certain amount of this nervous energy that's simply me caring And that's good. I just choose to direct that caring to the places that can actually improve me. That will actually make me better in the ways I want to be better. The better I feel about myself, the less need there will be to project some fake confidence. I don't have to pretend to be a leader. If A, I actually want to be one, and B, I've spent time connecting to that energy. So if I want to be a leader, I can first explore what that means to me, get a picture of that in my mind, get a feeling of that in my body, and choose to cultivate that internally. The more I do that, the more it's mine, the more it's real. The more it's simply just a part of who I am. There's something very relaxed and natural about actual competence and actual confidence. So I don't have to pretend anything. I'm not sure it would even be good for me to get hired because I was pretending to be something I'm not. Because then I would have to do that every day. So I enjoy working on myself anyway. I wouldn't be on a call like this if I didn't. So I'm going to allow that to unfold, allow that to become part of me, and allow me to present that in a natural way because it's actually natural to me. So I don't have to walk in there and say, yeah, I work on myself. I'm super passionate. I'm super dedicated. I can just actually be that in whatever way that comes out for me. So just relaxing any nervous energy that's not serving me and channeling all of that energy into those things that really do matter for me, whatever the job may be. All right. Take a deep breath. Do your thing. For me, it's always sort of stretching out, a constant focusing of my camera for whatever reason. Yeah, let me know how you feel. Let me know what's happening. If you are still here. That's one of the things about YouTube. I can't actually see who's present. but that's open to anyone as well. Um, that's going to do it for today as far as actual tapping rounds. But if you have any questions, comments about any of that, anything you'd like to address briefly, or just any questions at all, happy to answer. And yeah, I definitely have my own opinions about that sort of, I feel the need to pretend to be a leader and accessing my potential and all those sort of both self-help and corporate sort of buzzwords. um, they can be presented often in a very sort of fake and over the top way, but the element of the real version of those characteristics really are good, and you probably do actually want those things. So if you can look past sometimes the presentation of those things, because maybe those versions of it simply don't resonate with you, but they may work very well for different personality type, right? I'm sure there's plenty of people who would find me just, unlistenably low energy, right? Um, and feel like there's no way I could, be an achiever or something. Where if you actually observe me, even here during quarantine, I'm actually really kind of work pretty incessantly sometimes on a lot of projects and a lot of things I'm working on. But it's not, hey everybody, are we all here to tap? Round of applause, show of hands, who wants to tap today, right? I would probably get exhausted within minutes of doing that because it's not actually how I operate, and I don't feel like it necessarily lends itself very well to the way I like to actually do this work. It's a bit almost not intentionally in that I'm not thinking about it, but it's not presented like a big deal, if that makes sense. Like it might sound very casual, even though I might be kind of going down the road of an emotion or territory that's very intense. And I almost prefer that in some ways to, okay, guys, we're really going to dig in and look at hatred today. So get ready. I don't find it necessarily to be as conducive to actually, it can get your mind going quite a bit. And so, yeah, I'm really going to go try to work on myself. And again, it's appropriate for certain things. If we were about to do some aerobics or something, so everything has its place. So it feels a lot more relaxed and tuning into what it means to be a leader if I actually care about that role. Yeah, it's funny. I don't ever I've never thought of that as something I care about at all. Um, like a leadership position and all of those that sort of quality. But in reality, I guess these types of calls, people that work with me one on one, there's people that work with me consistently, like every month. I meet with them a couple times a month. That is, I guess, technically a leadership position, right? But I don't think of it in terms of like, okay, I don't study, okay, I need to be a leader. I don't conceptualize it that way, even though obviously in a situation like this, I'm leading the entire process, right? I'm determining how this call goes, the way I approach it, what road I take people down with the tapping. So that's quote unquote leading, right? But it's not from a sort of philosophical place of, okay, how does one be a leader? And that actually can be a very useful thing to study, and I might really benefit from that. But as far as you feeling comfortable or uncomfortable with it, and say it's not necessarily something you have to conceptualize too much, and you might find that you actually can just sort of do it when it's needed. So to just kind of relax and let go as much as you can of any of your opinions about what that term means and maybe some of the associations with it. Because sometimes the way it happens is you're in a situation and someone simply says, "Hey, Evan, you got to take over," or whatever might happen. Someone doesn't show up for a gig. Um, I'm helping someone with a call like this, and someone doesn't show up, and you're suddenly in that role, and you might find, oh, okay, something just sort of comes up and emerges itself. I had to miss a big portion of the tapping. Yes, this recording, this is live on YouTube, so it will literally just be a video on YouTube, like within minutes after this finishes. So same link. just click on it, and it's like I said, it's already on YouTube. So it'll just be there. It's one of the benefits of doing it here. I still haven't, not that I have to make a formal decision or anything, but I'm not sure if I like it here as much. In theory, if I was building a YouTube channel and had a lot of followers or something. So it does open it up to potentially more people being here, but obviously I haven't put energy into like building a YouTube channel per se. But I do like it. I do like the fact that people could stumble in here, or the recording is right there and very easy to access and all of that. So great. So I'll just give another moment if there's any other thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, concern. Obviously, I will be doing more of these. Okay, that seems like it. Thanks so much. Would greatly appreciate if you're not subscribed, you can subscribe to the channel. It helps out a bit, or click on the thumbs up on the video. Um, oh, will I be doing these on Wednesday now instead of Sunday? It's it's really hard for me to say. I mean, it's a little easier to schedule things now that I'm in what you might call lockdown mode. If my life as a musician returns, then I can never say, because it's literally just, okay, when do I have performances? And normally I play every Sunday at a church, twice a day. So it's new that I'm even able to do them on Sunday at all. But no, there's no consistency in terms of, okay, it's Wednesday versus Sunday or anything like that. So I wish my life situation allowed it to be that consistent, so that I didn't have to email you all each time and you could just sort of know the time and channel. But it's one of the blessings and cursings of sort of the lifestyle of the complete freelancer. Everything is just, oh, someone called me for a recording. Someone needs help with the call and is willing to pay me to do it. Someone wants to take a private session. So very, very influx. And I've just gotten used to it. So thanks again. Oh, Alicia, cool. Good to see you. Yes. And Joanna, yep. I'll send you a link to the session so that you can schedule that. And looking forward to that. Cool. Great, everybody. I will see you next time. Stay tuned to your email, or if you subscribe to the channel, I think it'll let you know, because I will schedule the video. I will schedule the call beforehand on YouTube. And so if you're subscribed, it'll actually give you a little notification saying, okay, there's a call coming up this day and time. Thanks again, everybody. I will hopefully see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.